Whoa, I've been cleaning my garage. It's getting organized, starting to look good. Well, this side. Don't look over here. This side's a mess. I'll eventually get to this side. That's not my issue at the moment. Right now, I got to work on my E46 330 Ci. It's my daily driver, and I'm going to be changing the flex disc. This attaches the transmission to the drive shaft. It's also called and I looked this up online and I am no closer to figuring out how to pronounce it. I call it a Guibo, though looking it up it's either Guibo, Guibo, Jibo, I don't know. But I'm going to continue calling it a Guibo because I can't get a definitive answer on how to pronounce this. Changing this, and while you're in there, center support bearing. This goes around the drive shaft, and basically to change one, you're going to change. If you're changing one, change them both. I'm getting a little vibration in the car, a little rotational. My first thought was to look at the rear trailing arm bushings. I pulled them down and they look good. They look fine. Car's old. Eventually I'm probably going to have to change them. These are easier to change, but it's going to take it's going to take less time than rear trailing arm bushings, but I got to do a lot more work to change them. Got to drop the exhaust. Got to lower heat shields to even see the drive shaft. Going to disconnect the drive shaft. It's not a hard job, but I got to climb completely under the car. I'm going to pick the car up on my quick jacks and my creeper here. The quick jacks don't get the car up high enough because I'm starting to get a little fat, and my titties and my belly rub the bottom of the car when I'm on the creeper underneath with the quick jack. So I'm going to probably slide a blanket under there. I'm going to show you how to change the Guibo and center support bearing. In case anybody was wondering about the quick jacks, I unhooked the hoses now so I could roll around freely. They could lock in two different positions, right here and right there, but now that they're here, they're pressed against a bar back there, so they could not fall. That is secure. And the car is now about 18 inches off the ground. So I got 18 inches to crawl underneath the car to work on stuff. You can't really access it from the sides because these are here on each side of the car, but I could slide in from the front or the back. I tried to slide up under the car on the creeper, but that's 5.5 inches and I just ain't got the room for that. And that is not what she said. Y'all shut up. Let's climb under the car and I'll try and show you everything that needs to be done. Oh, work my way over there. Alright, I am under the car, and right here at the edge of this heat shield you can kind of see the flex disc, the little Guibo. It's right there. So to get to that, and the center support bearing is somewhere around this area. I don't have a whole lot of room to move, but to get there I got to lower the exhaust and I got to lower this heat shield, which means I got to take this out of the way. This bar right here is holding the exhaust up. I got to lower the exhaust, and there's some supports back there by the muffler. So when I undo them supports, undo this cover, then I can lower this down and get to the heat shield, undo the heat shield, and I'll be able to see everything. I don't know what size everything is off the top of my head, so I just put a bunch of stuff in reach, and I'm gonna tell y'all what it is as I'm getting to everything. I just want to say this socket set right here, it's missing a few pieces and all, but somebody gave me this when I was 18 years old. I was in my front yard trying to remove an oil pan from my old 69 Bel Air, and I didn't have any proper tools, and a neighbor saw me, and this was their old set, and they just gave it to me, and I've been using this set ever since. That was almost 30 years ago. If you ever see any kid in your neighborhood working on cars, you want to continue the car community, you got some old tools or something, give them those tools. It's going to mean a lot to them people. Alright, I'm going to start at the back of the car and make my way forward. Holding up your muffler right here, you have 4 bolts. 1, 2, and over here, if you could see me, you have 1 here, 3, and another one right on this side. 4. That's 13 millimeter nuts. Be careful when you're under here. See all that dirt? You're gonna knock dirt in your eye while taking this loose. So protect your eyes. I'm gonna take this apart and I'm gonna make my way forward. Muffler is loosened. Next I'm gonna take apart this strap right here, and that is held up by 2 nuts, 2 bolts right here and on the other end, and that is a 16 millimeter. And if you notice your sets don't have 16 millimeters, that's because a 5/8 and a 16 millimeter are the same size. 5/8, I can't see it, but it's right there. 5/8, 16 millimeter. Taking that down next and making my way to the front. Whoa, I'm back. I took out the bolt here and the bolt here, but there's also a 13 millimeter right here. So take that out and make sure to put everything, don't lose any parts. You don't want to put your car back together and not remember where shit went. Well, I took the brace down, and it is also held together right there with that bolt. I didn't realize it went through all the way. Moving on, I'm going to take this plate down now, and it's just held up by a bunch of 13 millimeter bolts also. Now with that plate removed, 4 bolts, 2 nuts, all 13 millimeter, your exhaust should just be hanging here now. And I don't need to remove it. I'm not going to take apart the bolts up there and drop the whole exhaust. Should have enough room to get in here and work now. This heat shield is held up by a few 10 millimeter bolts all the way around it. I think there's only about 4 or 5. I think the 4 corners realistically, like 1 here, 1 on the other side, and then 2 in the back right here and over there. Should be another one, all 10 millimeter. And just slide the heat shield out of there and we'll get to the next part. The heat shield was just 5 bolts like I had said. It's loose now. I'm just going to slide it out of there. Probably easier to do with 2 hands. I'm going to get that out of there, but now you can see the drive shaft, and there's the center support bearing, and up front we'll get to the Guibo, as I'm going to continue to call it. Heat shield is off and slid out of the way. You can see the center support bearing and the Guibo there. I got the light set up so y'all can see. Center support bearing is held on by a 13 millimeter. Everything under the car is 13 millimeters, making it easy. And the Guibo over there, those bolts are held on with an 18 millimeter. I'm in an awkward position, but that is an 18 millimeter over there. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this and that, and we'll get back. I climbed out from underneath the car for something and just keep on getting distracted, but I'm back now. It's going to be nighttime by the time I finish this. But you're going to need an 18 millimeter socket in the front and an 18 millimeter wrench in the back to undo that. Something I forgot? Put your car in neutral so you can turn your drive shaft. Otherwise you're not going to be able to reach all the bolts. I'm starting to get too old to keep climbing out from underneath that car back and forth. I really need a 2-post lift in here. Safety glasses. Also, I'm going to bring an impact under this time because it's getting kind of tiring on my arm turning that wrench. See if I can fit this in there. Probably can't, but I'm going to try it. Alright, all the bolts are out. The impact wrench worked perfectly fine. I could take that out now. Hopefully. Oh, there's still a bolt right there. I said all the bolts are out. Look at that. With 2 hands, that wasn't too bad. I was able to pull it right apart. I got the flex disc right here. Guibo. I'm hoping I can get this center bearing off, carrier bearing, just by taking this one nut right here out. I don't want to take the whole drive shaft down. But I was going to try and take this apart laying down under the car, and I want to take the whole drive shaft out, but is kind of uncomfortable under here. I think I'm gonna be better off just taking it out and working on the bench over there. Just need to undo these little star bits right here. Right there, it's what holds the drive shaft on. And that is a E12. It's an E12. So I'm going to take this drive shaft out of here and go stand up on the bench over there. The drive shaft is out of the car. Nothing I've done so far has been hard to do, just hard on me crawling around on the ground under there. I'm out of shape. Anyway, I was thinking about it when I took the drive shaft out, that not everybody has the same drive shaft. If you have a sedan, it's going to be different than this one. Also, that brace that I took down from underneath the car right there, that's only for convertibles. So your drive shaft might be different. This is the coupe and convertible one. I took a white paint marker and I put paint on it to line it up, so when I put it back together, I know that these sides go together, because it's got to stay balanced. Just got to undo that bolt right there, and I'll be able to slide this apart and get this old bearing off. So I just want to point out a mistake I made. This is an 18 millimeter. I got it in there, and I was able to get it loose now. You don't have a whole lot of room to play, but I should have took that and loosened it while it was still attached to the car, so it was in gear and it wouldn't have spun. So for me to get that loose, I had to put the wrench on there and hit it with a hammer. So if you make mistakes, you could always work right through them, or don't film them and nobody will know you made a mistake anyway. Alright, I got that bolt out, and that's a pain in the ass. I got my white lines right here, and I'm just going to pull it apart. That's it. I'm going to pull this off. This might be a little more difficult. Some people have to use a puller to get it off. I'm just going to force it off, hit it with a hammer or something. Just to keep you updated, after I pulled on it for a bit, the whole center ripped out of it. That's flimsy, so that was definitely part of my problem. This is stiff. After the center ripped out, then I had to really work it to get the rest of it off of here. It's all in the trash now. Now to put this back together. The new one, it has this elongated side and then the flat side. The elongated side faces the front. It's going to face the front of your car. And I'm just going to put it on there and then tap it into place. It looks used because it is. I put this one on an old car of mine, and I only had it on the car for about a week, and then I took it off. I don't remember why I did that, but I've been keeping this piece since, so good time to put it to use now. That actually slid right on pretty easily, and it's almost all the way. I think once I put this top piece on, upside down, once I put this top piece on, get it lined up and then bolt it in place, it'll pull that together all the way. So let me go ahead and put that bolt back in and bolt this back together. So the drive shaft's back together, and when I was putting it back together, I got my white paint marks lined back up. I tried turning it one way and the other on the splines just to see, and I'm pretty confident that I got it back exactly the way that I took it apart. The nut is tight, 18 millimeter. Let me show you this. This is the Guibo, still calling it a Guibo. This is the old one, and you can see stress cracks in it. It's old. Look at cracks in it there. But more importantly, I could bend this. I don't know if you could see that on the camera, but I could bend this thing. It's pretty soft. Look, I'm actually bending it in half right there. This one here, this is the new one. I cannot bend it at all. So that's the new one. This, that old center support bearing, was definitely my vibration problem. I got a question though. Maybe y'all could answer in the comments or something. I'm putting this on my car. This is my new Guibo, and it's just a rubber one. This is what came off the car basically. I'm putting the factory stuff back on, but they make these solid, like metal, that don't flex. Supposedly like instant torque. As soon as you hit the gas pedal, there's no stress in here. It just takes off immediately. Same thing for the center support bearing. They say they got track ones that are a little noisy or whatever, but they got street ones that aren't as noisy, but they're solid bushings in there. And this is solid. And I'm wondering what y'all think about me putting it on my good car, not this car, because, well, I really don't, this is just my daily, I drive it to work. This car's got problems. But that car over there, I'm thinking about putting, you know, maybe the better stuff on. But this piece here, the metal one, is like $250, and the center support bearing is like $150. So it's a lot more money than these parts. Is it worth it? Somebody tell me, somebody with a little experience. I mean, I'm not going to be tracking my car. I don't race it, but I do want all the good stuff on that car. That's my baby. I love that car. I ain't never getting rid of it. I keep wandering off and getting distracted. I need to get this done. But I just looked up a lot of pictures online of this because I didn't want to give anybody the wrong information. You see how they have like a seam that runs around it? It seems that the skinny side goes towards the back of the car, and then I painted these arrows white so that you could see them. The arrows will point towards the flange itself. So if I had another hand, right there, the arrow points to the bolt hole, and the other arrow will be the ones in between going that way. So the arrow that's pointing that way goes on to this part. The arrow that's pointing that way goes into the blank part in between. The seam, the skinny side, goes to the back of the car. So I'm gonna go put this back underneath the car. I am really tired of being underneath this car. I could have put the car on jack stands to get it higher, but I didn't want to be under the car on jack stands for that long. I don't trust jack stands that much. But I am going to put this back exactly the way I took it apart. I got the drive shaft in place. I still got to tighten everything, but before I do and put the heat shield up, I wanted to make sure y'all saw what I was talking about with the arrows. The arrow faces the flange here. This arrow is pointing towards the flange back here. So that's the direction everything goes. Now I just got to tighten everything up, put my heat shield back up, start putting everything back together. Car's put back together the same way I took it apart. You don't want to see me tightening nuts and bolts, so I cut all that out. Otherwise it'd be a long video, you just watching me freaking tightening my nuts. So it's back together. I'm dirty. I'm gonna go wash my hands, I'm gonna move the cars around, and I'm gonna take it for a test drive, see if this thing's running right. But if I wouldn't have been messing around all day getting distracted with stuff, my wife's home now, so I was talking to her for a while too. It's dark outside. It's the same day. I could have knocked this out pretty quick. I know there's no way for y'all to know how my car felt before, how it feels now. Let me get on it real quick. It feels a lot better. It's not 100%, but I mean, it's an old car. Probably got some bushings here and there that need a change. But this definitely feels better. Oh yeah. I'm not getting the same vibrations I was getting before, and I am, well, let's just say I'm speeding. A lot.